everyone, I'm Buster Green, an anime reviewer, and in an unexpected twist, TMS/High Dive has finally dropped the first 2 episodes of Lupin Zero in a Christmas miracle, and apparently it's a short 6-episode OVA, so it shouldn't take too much work to go over it. And I know you guys are really, really on my case about it after I said a lot of shit when the trailer came out, so let's get down to this. Let's go over my immediate thoughts / reactions for the first 2 episodes, which drop back to back in kind of like a 1-hour pilot format. Now, first things first, I didn't hate it. Except there's one thing I hated, and that annoyed the shit out of me. So let's go over it. Now, in general, I love that this seems like the first Lupin series in history to try and faithfully connect itself to the original Lupin Season 1 from 1968, going so far as to even imitate the experimental art style from 68 and the completely incoherent background music of Lupin 68, which we all know was made by a man on drugs because it was the 60s. I friggin' love this music. Now, the show is kind of a back-to-basics reboot, bringing back a lot of the insanity, a lot of the violence, and a lot of the randomness that honestly made Lupin what it is. Now, I'm fully impressed that this show is about bad kids being fucking bad. Like, much to my splendor, this show is actually set in the 1950s, and it's not fucking holding back at all. It's got elementary school kids using guns and drugs, and man, I gotta tell you, 1950s Japan puts 1950s US to shame. Like, Lupin and Jigen are out here, like, smoking and shooting up the place, and, like, meanwhile, we got, like, Fonzie over here. I love this show, but I don't love it 100%. Like, okay, here's what I hate about the show. The main thing I hate is it turns out it's not just Lupin Season 0, it's Lupin and Jigen Season 0. And yeah, in the original Lupin, Jigen is just sort of originally there, or he just randomly shows up one day. And he's just like Lupin's friend who's fully loyal to him. And now, I gotta give this show credit for actually trying to explain how the two of them met. And yeah, other prequels have done this too, but never in a satisfying way. And once again, the show has not done it in a satisfying way either. But hey, I'll give the show credit. It's trying to tell a story and it's sticking to its guns. But they tell it in this stupid-ass Solo a Star Wars story kind of way where, actually, as it turns out, Jigen and Lupin were 6th graders together. And actually, as it turns out, in 6th grade, Jigen was already a master gunman. So yeah, the biggest thing I freaking hate about the show, Lupin and Jigen don't fucking acquire their skill sets. They're just fucking born with them at like maxed out level 100. And I guess, yeah, they really could have done Baby Lupin if that was the case. Like, I'm going to try so hard to suspend my disbelief for the show. But it really fucking violates like the 50 years of Lupin canon. That, for starters, Jigen Daisuke, he's supposed to be a Japanese American. He's supposed to have grown up in Chicago. He's supposed to have known how to use guns because he learned them while working in the American Mafia. And most importantly of all, he's supposed to be like at least 10 years older than Lupin, if not 30 years older than Lupin, depending on the depiction, depending on the media, depending on how much the director wants to play up their age gap. And I think in the show they've completely eliminated the age gap, and it's just like, well, actually, Jigen looked older because he had a beard. Beards make you look older. Now, that's kind of dumb to me, but I mean, I know these characters have been around for 50 years, but like, this is such a complete retcon of Jigen as a character that it seems like something they'd whip out of like Simpsons season 30, you know? Oh, Grandpa was always gay, okay. Anyway, so this episode 1, it posits Lupin as literally Lupin the Third, but also a 6th grader, which is bizarre. Like, I love this show aesthetically. I love the art style. I love the music. But from a character and a writing perspective, the show is fucking insane. The fact that Jigen and Lupin just show up in a fucking 6th grade classroom with all of their adult level skills and like political resources, and they're fucking like trying to rob the Yakuza while like poorly attempting to attend an elementary school. And, like, no one fucking cares? Like, what is this show? Like, they paint Lupin as a rich boy turned kleptomaniac due to his family history and, like, his natural inclinations. Alright, that tracks. I buy that. But anyway, so in the first episode, Lupin and Jigen are just, like, randomly chilling at, like, a very expensive upscale host club. And then they end up like rescuing a random hostess from the Yakuza or something. It's very chaotic, it's very Lupin, and also while it's all playing out, Lupin also steals like these 2 golden guns from the Yakuza. And I guess this also is conveniently the start of Lupin and Jigen's friendship, as the show is trying to paint them as childhood best friends. Now, I'll give the show credit. The actual show is much more interesting and much better animated than the trailer was. It seems that they've cleaned up the character models, and it seems like they're also doing that kind of low resolution thing that Megalobox did, because the video has this bizarre, inconsistent look to it. The animation is not perfect, but it does have a unique style that I respect. And yeah, it looks unique and it looks cool. The show is surreal and insane in a good way. Lupin here is not the rapey madman of the original comics, but they are trying to get that kind of vibe, that chaos vibe that the original comics had. And I respect the shit out of that. And fuck it, even if I hate the prequelization format, and even if I hate the illogicness of young Lupin being childhood friends with young Jigen, this is the closest I've ever seen any anime or anyone get to the original spirit of the original Lupin manga and the anime, like, ever. Like, there's also a ton of insane fan service just like all throughout both of the episodes that it's borderline illogical, but it makes it seem like so fucking cool that I'm going to give it a pass. So yeah, you got to watch the show. It's cool. I'm stoked to see where it's going. I doubt there's going to be another anime like ever where 2 6th graders go on like a criminal rampage and like steal boats to like sink the Yakuza's cruise ship. But yeah. Oh, also fucking amazing. The ending is like a sick reanimated version of like the original season 1 Lupin ending, but it's Jigen and Lupin instead of Fujiko. I wonder if that means Fujiko's not going to be in this. But then again, Lupin and Jigen are clearly the focus so far. Alright, episode 2. So we get to episode 2, and episode 2 is already a filler episode. Alright, so we have a train heist, and the train heist springs from Jigen just knowing about this like necklace on a train. Now, it's kind of shocking that in a 6-episode limited series, we've already got a filler episode. But then again, Lupin kind of lives on filler episodes, so... Anyway, so they're trying to steal this gold necklace from this random old dude. But also this Native American princess is also trying to steal the necklace because it's like apparently hers. So Jigen signs up to be a bodyguard for the guy, and he's planning to double-cross the guy and get the necklace. But Lupin gets wind of Jigen's plan, so Lupin double-crosses Jigen first. And then Lupin and the princess team up to steal the necklace. And then they out-swindle Jigen in his own con, and then Jigen switches sides, and it's very, very fluttery. Now, but I gotta back up again. Once again, I'm so weirded out seeing these characters as kids, because I'm so used to seeing them as gritty adults. And it's not even that, it's Jigen. Jigen is too weird in the show. Like, Daisuke Jigen is a chain-smoking, hard-boiled, professional gun for hire. And it's fucking weird him being literally that same character as a fucking 6th grader. And I keep trying my hardest to suspend my disbelief on this thing. But the more I see it, especially in episode 2, like, it's just so fucking ridiculous. Because look, Jigen's whole thing is he's a hard-boiled man of tragedy. And a big part of his backstory is that he ended up that way because he killed too many people, not always for the right reasons. And in general, he's had a lot of bad luck with women, which is further implied that he's potentially gotten at least more than one of his girlfriends killed. And all that has made him bitter and kind of given him PTSD from it all. But it seems completely unearned for him to already be acting that way when he's a fucking 12-year-old. Like, what were you like when you were 12? I bet you weren't a fucking, like, chain-smoking professional gunman with, like, a chip on his shoulder. Like, I know they're trying to imply that 1950 Japan was gritty, but, When I first saw the trailer for this, I really hoped, like, Lupin age 12 would just be the starting point, and then by episode 2, it'd be, like, Lupin age 18 with, like, Jigen as his mentor character, like, who, like, trained him and, like, slowly grew into his friend as Lupin slowly surpassed him. But no, it's the fucking adventures of 12-year-old Lupin and Jigen on a goddamn rampage. And on the one hand, that's entertaining as hell. But on the other hand, that's ridiculous. So I'm so fucking conflicted by the show. Am I just taking it too seriously? I don't know. It's just fucking weird that they're 12 and they both instantly have their full adult skill sets. Like, that seems like bad writing to me. Like, this is one of the weirdest reboots I've ever seen in my life because it's illogical. But if you just say fuck logic, it's fun. It's super fun. Like, I love the art style of the show. I love the aesthetic quality of the show. I just wish it meshed better with, like, the rest of Lupin's history. I mean, I guess if you just factor in that it's just a reboot that completely ignores all the other Lupin media except Lupin 68 and the manga, then I guess it kind of works. I fucking dig the shit out of the way Lupin is characterized in this. This is the 1968 version of Lupin. This is the invincible psychopath, the criminal mastermind. He's always sizing people up, and yeah, he's got jokes, but he has jokes because he's causing pain to himself and others. But then he's 12. Alright, look, I gotta be critical of the show, but despite that, I fucking love it. Alright, here's the next episode preview for episode 3. Guess it's gonna feature Lupin the First, Arsène Lupin himself. Alright, that intrigues me. We've never really, gotten too much of him being alive. Alright, so, look, I'm gonna real quick drop a wish list for what I want to see in these last 3 episodes, because we know the general plot of the first 3. For the last 3 episodes, no Zenigata, please. Zenigata should just be like a fucking, teaser trailer at, the last episode, last second of the end of it. We don't need fucking 12-year-old Zenigata showing up and, further blowing my mind. Now, if Fujiko shows up as a 12-year-old, I guess I'd be okay with it. But I don't think they will do that, because Fujiko is, such an archetypal character that I want to say I think this show will avoid her, just because, especially if it's based on the 68 Lupin. In 1968 and in the manga, Fujiko is less of a character and more like a sheer force of nature. She was just very positive and negative and everything a woman could be all at once. And you never knew if she was suddenly going to fuck Lupin or fuck him over. That's what was fun about her. Also, I don't think it's been confirmed, but I'm really hoping to God they do Goemon's origin. As much as I've been don't do 12-year-old Fujiko, don't do 12-year-old Zenigata. If they do 12-year-old Goemon, I'm completely down for that. I want to see 12-year-old Goemon. And I think it would actually be a huge missed opportunity if they don't do Goemon's origin story in this. Alright, that's all I gotta say so far. Hopefully this show turns out good. It's off to a good start. Maybe I'll pop in with one more video after the end of episode 6. But so far, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm actually enjoying this a lot more than Lupin Part 6. It was kind of mundane except for a few standalone episodes that really blew me out of the waters. But so far, this has my interest. This is intriguing. Alright guys, check back in later. Thanks. Good night. Watch another video. I need to get those watch views up. Thank you. Good night. Watch my stuff for an hour.